Greetings, everyone. A very warm welcome to this session on Jordan, a gateway to investment in a $50 trillion global economy. I'm Gretchen Biery. I'm EBRD's director for the Eastern Mediterranean region, based in sunny Amman. Today's session is really focused on giving you a better idea of how the government, the private sector, and EBRD are supporting economic growth while making Jordan greener and more inclusive. I want to first really thank His Excellency Mothana Garaibe, Minister of Investment, and Her Excellency Minister Toukan, Minister of Planning and International Cooperation, who's off stage, for being here. We have 5 really amazing panelists. We're very excited to have them here today. We have Sanal Kumar, Chairman and Managing Director of Classic Fashion, Mathieu Muzamdar, Deputy CEO of Meridium, Iyad Abu Khorma, CEO of Aqaba Digital Hub, Ahmad Salah, CEO of KBW Jordan, and Manuel Geiger, Head of International Business Development at Enertrag. We're first going to start off with a video about Jordan, and then we will turn it over to the discussion that you're here for.
Jordan, where we take good care of business and even better care of people. Our location gives you access to over 140 markets through free trade agreements linking Europe, the Gulf, and beyond. We're leading the region's clean energy shift with 29% of electricity from renewables and the first decarbonized port in the Middle East now underway. Our digital economy is booming. In 2024, digital payments hit $40 billion, supported by a $200 million tech and jobs program. Jordan moves fast, with 2,700 kilometers of highways and an award-winning airport connecting 3 continents. Manufacturing here is smart and cost-effective. 0% customs and sales tax on fixed assets, and a top 10 globally ranked workforce. Creativity thrives in Jordan, from Oscar-winning films and groundbreaking animation to a fast-growing gaming scene.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Amman.
In 2024, more than 6 million visitors experienced Jordan's legendary hospitality, wandering through ancient ruins, pausing at sacred sites, standing in awe of Petra, and finding rest in healing landscapes. We're MENA's 4th largest startup funding hub, with a currency pegged to the US dollar and the world's 2nd most stable banking system. At the heart of it all, our people, young, driven, and ready to lead. With 70% under the age of 34 and more engineers per capita than anywhere else in the region, this is where ambition finds talent and where vision finds a home. Jordan, built for business, powered by people.
So just to mention some housekeeping, after we go through the discussion with the panel, first of all, His Excellency Minister Garaibe will give an overview of Jordan and investment opportunities. Then there will be a discussion with the panelists. At the end, there will be time for Q&A. For those in the room, please just ask your questions. For those online, we will be using Slido, so you can present your questions through that to me. But without further ado, I would like to introduce His Excellency Mothana Garaibe, Minister of Investment, previously Minister of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, who will lead the event. Minister has extensive experience in telecoms, leading Ericsson's operations in Jordan and other capacities in the Middle East, and is CEO and founder of the 5th Expert and Advisory Service for institutions in Middle East and Asia. Over to you, your Minister.
Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Gretchen, for making this happen. You have spent so much time, energy, and passion to get us all in one room. I truly appreciate it, and everybody in the room, I think, appreciates the focus, dedication you had to put us all together. I think you're all wondering about the title of this session, $50 trillion. And it's a very fair thing to question, oh, are you still having $50 trillion, half of the globe's economy, with all what's happening in the tariff fight? Yes. I think that's a very fair question, and yes, we do have. We were asked if we want to change it after the tariff change, and I said no. We have 20% right now. I'm going to be very blunt and go to the details. With 20%, we have some regional competitors that are at 10%. Yet, those regional competitors have 5 times the interest rate, 10 times the inflation rate. They cannot get $1 out of the country. So we're still competitive, and we still have access, and we're in negotiations. We have taken, our Prime Minister went to DC to start the negotiations, and we're working hard to make sure that we're still competitive. Yet, we're competitive, and Sanal here can tell you that he's expanding in Jordan while the tariff is still there. So even with the 20%, we're competitive. After getting done with that, I want to explain that Jordan is not only $50 trillion. It's supply chain resilience, it's diversification and growth. That's who we are. We're the resilience partner for anybody who wants to grow, who wants to be eco-friendly, who wants to make sure that he is not at risk of failing when the globe is in danger. During COVID, global technology companies managed to grow their teams from Jordan in 3 weeks' time. I mean, I can mention Cisco as an example. 3 weeks, they hired 250 engineers, 60% of which were females, in 6 different governments who managed to serve their global growth without any disruptions to their operations. We've managed to grow our exports in chemicals and pharma, in food. I mean, like crazy in the last few years. We 60% growth in 2 years. That's a lot. And we're still capable of doing more. We were 40% of the global bromine market share. And we just had an $800 million of investments. And there is way, way more that we could do together. We have our economic modernization vision, which has 8 drivers. Our focus today mainly on manufacturing and future services and infrastructure. And we have a great panel here on the room that could help us tell our story in a better way. We are focused on one major project. I'm happy that our guys in Meridian here are with us, because our mega project this year is the water. And to be very honest, water in Jordan was never a given. It's a decision. 3,000 years before Christ, the first dam on earth was built by Jordanians to guarantee water for our people to drink. And we're repeating what our ancestors have done 1,000 years ago. We're doing our $6 billion project right now to do the water conveyor. That's how we overcome scarcity by innovation. That's the only way for a small country in the Middle East to be capable to thrive and move forward and stay resilient in a very tough environment. I'll stop here, because I have my 3 minutes that Gretchen has given me. And I'll move to my dear friend, Sanal, and I'll not waste time introducing you. She's already done. Why are you in Jordan?
Good afternoon, everybody. Why I'm in Jordan? Basically, I was into textile business from 1991. So in that time, at that particular point in time, I was working for people as an employee, not as an entrepreneur. So I came to Jordan to set up a factory for one of the entrepreneurs based out of Abu Dhabi. And then I came in 2000. I set up this unit. And normally what I was doing is I set up the factory, hand it over to the people, and then take the next project. That is what I was doing it. So in 2003, I completed that particular exercise of that particular factory. And then I thought, why shouldn't I try my luck in Jordan? And why Jordan? The answer is, the reason is, the duty-free factor for our business is a major player in executing our business. Because when we talk about the price of a garment or the FOB of a garment, almost 70% of that particular price is same for anybody and everybody working in any part of the world, be it Bangladesh or Vietnam or Sri Lanka or Cambodia or whatever it is. The whole competition is on the 30%. On the 30% when there is a competition, and Jordan enjoys duty-free benefit in the US, on man-made fiber, the duty is 32%. So when you have a 32% duty benefit on a 30% competition, you can even beat possibly the most competitive labor-focused countries like Bangladesh, by being in Jordan. That is what brought me into Jordan. But then I decided to invest in Jordan. After being in Jordan for the first 3 years in 2000 to 2003, I found bureaucracy is clean, the people are there to support, and it's a virgin market. So if I really give a strong shot, I was sure that I could succeed. I started my business in classic fashion with just $500,000, and that was all I could earn from 1991 till 2003. The entire money was invested into the business because I truly believed in myself and also in the country and the bureaucracy of the country. So I did not blink my eyes to put that money in. That $500,000, today I can say that we have grown to a $1 billion company. We have 35,000 people working in Jordan for us. We have 20 factories in Jordan. We have 3 major hubs in Irbid, whoso know Jordan, I can tell, in Irbid, Aqaba, as well as in Mafraq. And then we have another 10 factories in the rural areas of Jordan to create jobs for the Jordanians. So this is what we do. We are, our industry is just a $2 billion industry, and we are almost 50% of that industry. This is what I could do, and I could do this only because I'm in Jordan. There is no doubt about it. So anybody who want to invest in Jordan, want to know more about what I'm doing you're all welcome, or you're all, please refer to the people who is looking for that, and we are more than happy to facilitate, their investments and to protect and make sure that they grow from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So he should be the Minister of Investment, not me. But, and he's Jordanian now, by the way. Thank you so much, my dear friend. I want to ask you about the caring with your staff. You have made it a point that you're not only an employer, you're part of the family. Can you tell us more about that?
Definitely. So when I say that we have 35,000 people, Jordan works on a combination of migrant and local. So the combination is such, 70% are migrant and 30% are locals. So we have 7,000 Jordanians working in classic fashion, and I can say that we are the largest employer of Jordanians in the country, and we are the largest employer of private sector in the country. And again, this I could do only because with the support that I enjoy from the country. And when we talk about caring, the thing is at the end of the day, the business could have been run for making money, but if you try to make money and don't focus on, the human component or the human element of the whole relationship, neither you'll make money nor you'll have a bunch of dissatisfied people. Particularly our industry is absolutely labor-intensive industry. So what we have in addition to the minimum wages or whatever it is, for Jordanians in particular, in addition to the minimum wages, we do provide transport for them from their home to the office and from the home to the factory and back home. And we have childcare center. I was initially against starting childcare center, thinking that how can Jordanians at 6 in the a.m. can bring their kids and live in childcare center. So we were having a different scheme of paying 25 GD for each of the kids who are under the age of 4. I thought that would be better for them because there are people at home, so they can take care of the kid, and they'll have an additional money. If they have 3 kids, they'll be getting another 75 JD, which is a decent amount of money for the worker. But when we started Child Care Center, we realized that, definitely they're looking for. Today, I can say that we have created a capacity for 600 kids, of which over 300 kids are there already in different factories of us, and they're all enjoying. And last week, in fact, one of the child care centers I visited over, I spent more than an hour with all the kids. It was a great, feeling, and that is what I could see that. So basically, what I truly believe is touching the heart of the people is the name of the game. And particularly in a labor-oriented industry, it's not machines. They're not machines. So the best of the capital that you can have is people. And the worst of the capital that you can have is, again, people. So it all depends on how you manage them, how you induce their confidence in them, saying that I'm one among you, and I am with you for anything and everything. And we exhibited that, particularly during COVID time. I mean, His Excellency is sitting here, Tariq Hamouri, he knows, what exactly we did. When the whole world was shutting down, Jordan also shut down on 18th March 2020. I went crying to him and to the other ministers saying that by the time the sun rises and sets, whether I run the factory or I don't run the factory, I have to figure out $750,000. So if I shut down, and if 10 days, if that is what is going to happen, $7.5 million, I said, you're going to bury me alive. They all were very sympathetic to me.
You're still alive.
Absolutely. So sympathetic to me, saying that, Sanal, we do understand and we are with you, but countries, security is more important, countries' risk is more important than anything else. Then I said to them, I mean, if I'm not escalating the risk even by 0.001%, why shouldn't you allow me? They asked me how.
We found a solution.
Absolutely. I mean, we made a protocol. We took the protocol to the Crisis Management Committee, and that is Jordan. That can happen only in Jordan. We took it to the Crisis Management Committee. We said to them that with this, I'm making a bubble of my migrant people, and they're not connected to the society. And we are also staying inside the campus, inside the factory with the workers to induce confidence in them, saying that we are with you. So with that, we got the approval to start in just 10 days, though the country opened only in July, but we got the approval to start on 30th March itself. That is an exhibition of, the participation.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. And by the way, this industry is planned to quadruple in the next 8 years. We agreed. We're going to build clusters. We're going to do much more than what we're doing right now. We're going to have every component of the supply chain, and we appreciate the association that my dear friend here chairs to get the industry here. Matthew, I mean, half of the people here, or at least a big portion of them, used something you have invested in. I mean, many of us came yesterday through Queen Ali Airport, and it's a facility we're so proud of. And it only happened with great investment by Meridian, one of the biggest global private equity investors and major infrastructure investor. Tell us about your experience in the past and what do you see in the future, please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I mean, our journey in Jordan started in 2018, so quite a while now, when we made the acquisition of the Queen Ali Airport, and really with a plan to continue to develop it. As we know, it's a crucial piece of infrastructure for the country. Just as an example of what we continue to do, just last month we opened a big solar power plant to ensure that 25% of the energy which is used at the airport is solar power. So we worked through this airport, and then we were also looking at how we could do more. And looking at how we could do more, where were the needs of the country? And I think, of course, one of the obvious ones, and you touched upon it, was water. But I'll come to this one. But I think more generally, one of the things that really motivated us to do more in Jordan is when you invest in infrastructure projects, these are very long-term development cycles. It takes years to get these projects from a place of design to when you really start construction. It's really years of work and investment. And so you need a lot of government consistency, you need a lot of consistency in policies and support, and we found this in Jordan, of having actually a consistent policy of developing infrastructure, bringing in private expertise and private financing to partner with the public sector to develop those, and doing it in a scalable way. There's been almost 10 billion of projects done in the past years. The airport you saw on the video is one, but also all the renewable energy, which is 30% of the energy in the country, which is a pretty impressive number. So these are all the things, the positive signals that we saw coming in, and we're continuing to work with in the country. We continue to see some of those unfold. We know in the, for example, there's a PPP unit, which is public-private partnership unit, which is really working as developing a pipeline to ensure that we can get, I mean, it's good for us in terms of investing the resources and having teams on the ground to develop projects, but also how we bring partners, how we have industrial partners who come and localize in Jordan because they see all this pipeline happening. And so there's about probably 30 billion in the economic modernization vision of projects which are coming in, which is really helping to ensure as infrastructure developers that we see a great plan going forward. The other thing which, in addition to that vision and having an implementation, having people, counterparties on the public side who can really help us develop these projects, those were all key factors. Another one is also the ability of Jordan to partner with also key financial institutions such as EBRD, who can be important partners in this project. When we finance a large water project, a $6 billion project, you need, of course, other financing partners who come around the table. And this is where, with Jordan's reputation, track record of also delivering in these projects and supporting them, this is a key asset that we can use to really make these big projects happen at scale and make them successfully.
Thank you so much. So tell us more about the water project.
So the water project is one that we started developing quite a few years ago now. I think it's been since 2019 or so. And where basically it's a big desalination project. It will be one of the largest desalination plants in the world. More than 400 kilometers of conveyance to bring the water from Aqaba to Amman. And then almost 300 megawatts of solar power to power this in a sustainable way. So really a massive but also best-in-class project in terms of making it socially impactful, of course, but also environmentally impactful, which is also a way to make it future-proof and affordable. So we have participated in the tender, which was run by the Jordan government. We signed the contract a few months ago. We're now working full speed to deliver the project.
Financial close within this year?
Financial close within this year. To bring together all these $6 billion that you were discussing, and then in parallel working on the full speed implementation of the project. So quite a lot of work ahead, and very exciting, of course.
We're all excited. Thank you. Iyad. Well, it's hard to introduce Iyad. It's very hard for me personally. I mean, 6 years ago, we were here in London. We had one meeting with Google, and the guy now has the Google cable crossing Aqaba. That's how, I know many people who have been introduced to many people, but this guy gets things done. I'll not ask you a question. I'll leave you to your slides.
Yeah, well, thank you, Your Excellency. Talking about innovation cables, I don't think it works with the suits I'm wearing now, because innovation always comes with a casual looking. But anyway, I'll do my best. So I tried through this slide just to show one thing before I start, is to focus on the genius and important location of Jordan as a country with the borders that connects with six countries, the main 6 countries, if I may say, the main 6 in the Middle East region, and also the connectivity between Europe, Middle East, and Asia. We've started with a project aiming for building a small international gateway in the south of Jordan in a city called Aqaba, just aiming to bring one single fiber pair to Aqaba in order to feed the Jordanian market with internet capacity to the local market. We end up, after finishing the project, that we are serving the whole world by creating a new corridor that provides connectivity between Europe, Middle East, and Asia. And as you can see on the map, today everybody is frustrated from the current security situation in the Red Sea. 30% of the internet traffic today crossing the Red Sea, and all this is making a big risk on the future business and business opportunities in the AI and the business growth in the different regions. So basically what we did in Aqaba, we managed to use the genius location of Jordan by connecting the neighboring countries and creating this new corridor. On the top of this, also, we built the first big data center in Jordan. And the ambition, the objective from the data center we built, to serve the local market. And again, due to the security situation in the region, we end up working on being a disaster recovery for many markets in the Middle East region. What we did, basically, just to focus on the geography, because today all the business investments in the AI, in the data center, it requires a new corridors, a new access roads. And what we did in Aqaba today is intersect with 2 major initiatives. One of them is called the IMEC, the MOU signed between the US and the European, Indian, UAE and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this corridor is coming all the way through Jordan. This is our understanding from the plan. So, yeah, I have another slide here. As I said, we've started with a concept of bringing one fiber pair to Jordan. Today we have a commitment of more than 150 fiber pairs that will come through Jordan, bringing a number that my technical team tried to explain to me, which is 2.8 petabyte of internet traffic through Jordan.
Oh, what petabyte is?
It's, you know, they try to explain it's 1,000 tera, the petabyte, it's 1,000 tera. So a lot, actually, yeah. We've started, to be honest with you, we've started with 25 tera. That was the plan, to start with 25 tera. So, and we have five cables, 5 international cables committed to come through Aqaba. And really, we built a real digital corridor now. And I think this also intersects with the European Global Gateway initiatives as well. So one of the things I would like also to talk about Jordan, which is my country, I'm honored to be Jordanian, that, you know, the stability in Jordan, the neutral as a country in the middle of the fire that we all saw and witnessed in Middle East, make it, you know, an attractive and lucrative location for investments. The availability of human resources, especially in the high tech, because Jordan graduates 8,000 students from high tech technology universities.
8,000?
The high tech. The high tech.
22% of our grads are in STEM. We're higher than many
so
of the most
you know,
advanced
the figure is better than me, Your Excellency. Okay. And one last thing about, you know, the project we have is, you know, the value. Why Aqaba Jordan and why we did it in Jordan? For me, you know, one of the things that encouraged me to continue growing the business we are working, the first one is the full understanding of the senior responsibles in the country. The open doors, you know, when it comes for any obstacles you face. You don't see it much in our region. We are unique in Jordan, and sitting with His Excellency and Her Excellency here, it shows, you know, the friendship we have with the officials in Jordan. And, you know, Aqaba as a location, it's integrated with many big projects in the regions as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear friend. Ahmed.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Ahmed is now the CEO of KBW, which is one of the major investment funds in the region, founded by Prince Khalid bin Walid bin Talal from Saudi. But Ahmed has a experience in manufacturing as well. He kept us well fed for 30 years
yes.
in his previous job. And I mean, let me tell you something about lights in Jordan. Light was limited to those who could afford metal lanterns back a few thousand years ago, till our grandparents, the Nabateans, created the clay lanterns, and they have democratized access to light. They used oil and they used clay to enlighten the routes of trade. Now this job is done by Ahmed. He has 500,000 LED that are lighting our routes, and he has done a great job making our energy system much more efficient. Why are you in Jordan? You're Jordanian, but why is KBW in Jordan?
I'll tell you. Thank you so much for having me on this session. You know, at KBW, we focus on energy efficiency, whereby we believe Jordan has a big impact on that potential. As His Excellency just mentioned, Jordan reliance on the outdated infrastructure of the street lights had opened opportunity for LED lights and smart solutions. Actually, that happened because of the government progressive achievements and the exemptions in different laws. Because at that time, when we came to Jordan, we were happy to introduce what we call ESCO. ESCO means energy saving contracting, which means KBW will fund will fund the energy, let's say, implementation, and will share the savings with the government. I think the introduction of that model was really important because it was done on, let's say, performance measurement and result-oriented. As we speak today, we have around 500,000 units in Jordan. That represents 80% of the market. And they have reduced the emission of dioxide of around 23,000 tons, which is very important. And that played a big role in having even financial institutions like EBRD comes to us because this is a real green energy project. Why we came to Jordan, as I told you, the government was open to all the innovative, let's say, solutions that come from the private sector, whereby you can have a full alignment between the private sector, let's say, benefit and private sector expertise and the public sector, let's say, benefit. So that innovation makes the room or the country ready to have any innovation or other innovative ideas in the infrastructure. I can tell you that that does not stop there. Still, Jordan has a lot of potential, Your Excellency, in the different, let's say, projects. One of them is the social infrastructure. I believe Jordan has a big potential.
We're closing a deal with you now, next week, hopefully.
Yeah, we're working on one of them, hopefully, inshallah.
Waiting for the discount.
It will come soon, inshallah. Okay, all right. So the social infrastructure is a big potential in Jordan, where in the health sector, education, and public facilities. I think there's a big potential in Jordan in the smart cities, where you integrate technology with infrastructure. And last but not least, I think the waste management is very important, let's say, projects that require good investments where you have the circular economy. All that happened, to be honest, yani maybe I'm almost new to the company, but I know the management team took them a lot of work to have the government accepts what we call the ESCO. And this is a great, let's say, opportunity for any investor to come, and the government is always open to have whatever the private sector has in mind in terms of innovation, result-oriented solutions that will give a win-win situation between the investor himself and the government. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I mean, we're trying to innovate in the business models that we're doing. That's the latest project that we're trying to work on is building of a public hospital by KBW. And I mean, we're a country that managed to overcome scarcity by innovation. That's the only way for us to survive. We're small when it comes to resources, but we have the dedication, the determination to make it happen, and hopefully we're going to do much more together. Track. Well, green hydrogen is one big thing, and we're super, super excited to make it happen, and Gretchen has just committed to finance. We just need to close the deal. No, it's okay. She said if it's a good deal, she'll finance it. That's her job, you know, come on. And it's my job to make it a good deal for you guys. And it's one of the key priority projects for us because I believe we can compete. And to compete, we need to listen more to you guys. And we're in a very serious conversation. This is not the first time we meet, and we're waiting for you to understand more how we could make it work. We committed. Her Excellency Zeina was the first one who was talking about green hydrogen 3 years ago when nobody believed in it. And now we're working with you guys and 4 other developers on common use infrastructure. EBRD has greatly supported us in building the vision to how to make it work. Why did you come to Jordan, by the way?
Well, Your Excellency, thanks first of all for that kind introduction. Let me maybe quickly start with an introduction of EnerTruck because I think it's important for whatever follows after. So we are actually an investor and developer of initially renewable projects. We come from Germany initially, Berlin-based, 35 years in the market, initially started with wind and solar projects. Very soon, already with 15 years in the business, we realized there's a certain limit with regards to penetration of renewables into the market. So we already started thinking about alternative solutions. And actually, since 2011, we're already operating our first green hydrogen electrolyzer out of Berlin, still operational today. So it's a long-term experience also from an operational perspective. The company went abroad so we basically work nowadays, the core markets is still France, Germany, Poland, but we went international about 15 years ago. So nowadays we're present in South Africa, in Namibia, in Vietnam, and in the LATAM. and of course Jordan now. So we are most known for the Hyphen project in Namibia, and I'll come to that later. So basically it's one of the largest green ammonia projects on the African continent right now, probably one of the most progressed ones, where we are the lead developer and investor on that one. So coming to the question, okay, why did we choose Jordan? I mean, we basically are currently working on a global portfolio of PTX projects and did a global screening also of the market or where could we potentially go. For us, the main important factor, of course, is renewable energy resources. Jordan has very high solar irradiation, also very favorable wind conditions. So that was already the first factor. And then, of course, there's a lot of factors that my other panelists have already mentioned, right? I mean, Jordan is a beacon of stability in the region itself. So very, very strong governance system over the last 50 years. Which is quite important for us if we come to a market, because we need to see this long-term vision that also my colleague here has mentioned before. Then we have an existing infrastructure. So we basically, Aqaba port is already there. I think you had mentioned it before. So even there's an ammonia terminal already in place. So that already helps us when it comes to potentially producing a competitive product in the market itself. In addition, the beacon of stability that I mentioned, of course, also leads to the fact that a lot of the IFIs, DFIs are present in the market to support potentially the funding of common user infrastructure. Gretchen, of course, we have a close cooperation when it comes to that, and that does help us as well from that perspective. So all these factors combined, of course, are the factors that basically led us to the factors that we signed an agreement in, I think, during COP in 2023, and have since then been closely working with, of course, the ministry to develop a green ammonia project in the market itself. The last factor, and I think that's also a very important one, I think Jordan is one of the only countries, maybe apart from China, that has all micronutrients available in the country for complex fertilizer production. And of course, when it comes to ammonia, there's also a pathway for us to potentially create further value in the market itself than pure raw materials, but basically even potentially increase the value in the market, in the country itself, to basically allow for exportation of higher value products in the future as well. So that's an important factor from our side as well.
Thank you. What do you need from me?
Well, you just mentioned it. Exactly. No, I think generally to understand that green hydrogen market, I think it's clear that we are currently in a market that is very new. It hasn't been proven yet. We see a lot of other sectors or other countries that are developing. We see Jordan is certainly not on the forefront when it comes to developing the regulated framework. It's more like a smart follower approach. At the same time, we highly appreciate the strong interaction with the government itself. So we, as a company, we are active in, as I said before, in Namibia, for example, also currently also engaging in Oman. So that are certainly good example of countries that basically set up certain regulatory frameworks that then help to provide stability in a very clear path forward. I think right now what we see, we are working very closely with the government. We see a lot of openness to basically interact with the public and the private sector. So basically we have continuous forums where we basically exchange. So we don't see that, we see that, I mean, as you just outlined and emphasized, we see that will, from the public side, to really listen to the developer community of what is needed in order to allow us to basically produce competitive product, and of course also allow Jordan to benefit from developing a sector itself. So right now we're also closely working with you to see, because it's not only a single asset, we basically always discuss about how can we develop a sector itself, and of course that requires certain common user infrastructure discussions. We, as I said before, I mean, we are working now with the ministry itself to how can we structure that, and I think that's something that, of course, Jordan would probably need to take a more active role when it comes to moderating that discussions with regards to Aqaba Green Hub, to allow for basically developing this common user infrastructure that would then allow. And maybe what we see, for I mentioned Oman, I mean, a good example of Oman is that they basically implemented a certain one-stop shop, in that case, Hydrom, that basically allowed as like single interface in between the developer community and the
That's me.
And also a regulator.
Excuse me for that. I'll be your account manager.
Okay.
So I still have 50 seconds from his time, so I'll use them. So thank you all for great. I mean, it's obvious that you guys are committed to Jordan, and Jordan is committed to your growth and prosperity. It has to be a win-win where we all make proper interest. We get the jobs, the economic growth, and you get the profit and access to global markets and the access to talent and cost competitiveness. But I want to mention more of our infrastructure projects that I did not mention in my opening. We have much more than green hydrogen and the things. We have 580 schools, Your Excellency, right, to be built in the next few years. And we're working with EBRD on that. We've just sent the last communication last week to start with 40 schools, hopefully, and take it forward. That's a lot of infrastructure to be built. We have many train projects, I mean, at least many transport projects, at least one of them is a train. And we have an elevated highway that will be crossing the most congested route in Amman, and that's super important and that's super profitable. We have expansions on potash, phosphate, and that's really happening. We've got 800 million, and we have an additional that are coming. We have a new stadium, an Olympic city that's going to be built, a convention center, an entertainment city, and we have the gas. We have our own gas that we have discovered, 14.6 trillion cubic feet that are in place. The confirmed by Schlumberger that are recoverable is 4.6. That's Jordan's consumption for the next 20 years. So Jordan autonomy over its own energy is happening. And that would allow us to become much more competitive when it comes to manufacturing and growth. And we have a huge focus on exports of Jordanian manufactured goods. And I think what's happening globally is an opportunity for you guys and for us. You could use us to compete with other places that you cannot compete with unless you use our cost competitiveness. I'm going to stop here and move to the questions and answers. Gretchen, thank you again for all your great contribution.
Thanks very much for the really interesting discussion. I mean, I live in Jordan, and I can tell you I still also feel it was really, well, it was exciting and inspiring because Jordan is in some ways perceived as a small economy, but as His Excellency said, it most certainly is not. And I want to, before we open it up to broader questions, I just really want to emphasize for EBRD how indeed open the government is in terms of interacting with investors, international investors, domestic investors. The attitude is very much open-minded, can-do, find solutions, think proactively, and it does differ from other places where I have worked. So I simply just want to make that very clear. It's quite an exceptional country in my own experience, and I think for us as an institution. We'll open it up to questions. Those online, feel free to put your questions in Slido. Those in the room, just raise your hand, and we'll have someone bring a microphone to you. Don't be shy.
Thank you all for a very informative presentation. I'm a Jordanian. We are in a much smaller business. We're not in the billions. We're maybe in the millions. We are a private clinical pathology laboratories, blood tests, basically. We started in 1993 with 5 laboratories, and now we have 72 laboratories in different countries in the region. We recently are opening a lab actually in Dublin and in Dubai. We've got all the accreditations worldwide, so we're bringing business to Jordan through referrals that used to go to the States or Europe because of the accreditation, and we employ 650 scientists. What I want to say, obviously, everybody is talking about Jordan and the flexibility. I just want to confirm, we've worked in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, in Iraq, in Palestine, and several other places. And the regulations that we have in Jordan are really very stable and very clear, and one of the best in the region. And it is because of that that we are able to expand and employ so many scientists and serve so many people. We've got about 35% of the market And we've worked with EBRD, and we're grateful for that. And inshallah, we will work again with you. I just wanted to confirm that Jordan is a healthy, stable investment environment that we have found over the last 33 years. Thank you.
Thank you. But actually, having said that, we still have, there is a room for improvement, and we're not in denial of our shortages. And we have a plan, and we're not going to be super happy about the situation right now. We need to fix it, and we need to make it much better. So we have a big plan to optimize, lower the number of days you need to finish business, and the number of steps. And we have a governmental plan for that. So thank you for saying that, but we still need to improve. Truly appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Dr. Manar Nimmer. I am his vice. I have a question. This session is about that Jordan is a global gateway to invest for global trading. And in the review of this session is offering a significant opportunity in terms of key value for other industry, but for us is for services. And my question is, as two ministers we have in planning and investment, how this will help us in trading the services or sharing our experience or sending out our experience to the globe. Not to the globe, of course, I mean to certain cities, transfer our knowledge, our expertise, our skilled labor to other countries that they need or they in need to this type of services. Thank you very much.
I assume that's a question to me. Well, we don't need to send the people. We're sending people, but we need to send the service. So we create the value in the country and export the service. Well, that's, you know better than me because you're the business leader of your own business. But future services is part of our economic modernization vision drivers. And it's in technology and in healthcare. You can do much. I mean, pharma testing, that's a huge industry that you can go. You need to come with a plan, tell me that this is a target industry, that I need your help as a government to open a door for me, to follow up with a certain government, to follow up with the private sector in a different place on earth, and I'll run after you. I'm sure you're not assuming the government is going to be leading you in doing that. And I'll be at your service. I'm a public servant to make sure that you have that opportunity. Let me know. Give us, when I go back to Amman, come back with a short list. Let us know what actions you need from my side. I'll make sure it happens.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Libby George with Reuters. You talked a little bit about the tariffs earlier, but I hope you could elaborate on what Jordan can do to remain competitive. You know, in the EBRD's own annual forecast or economic forecast, Jordan is, I think, #2 and the second largest direct negative impact of the tariff increases. So how optimistic are you that Jordan can negotiate a lower tariff level? And if not, how do you remain competitive?
We already started the negotiation. Our Prime Minister and Her Excellency was with him on that trip with the Minister of Trade and Industry. As you know, all negotiations are very confidential and secretive till we conclude. That's how it happens. We were a strategic friend and ally to the U.S., and we were building. His Majesty was last week in the U.S. He met all the congressional committees and committees in the House. We're working hard to make sure that we reach a conclusion. Where that conclusion is, it will be announced when it happens. Yet, even with the current situation, at least in the textile industry, I'm half of my global competitors in Southeast Asia. I'm closer to the markets. I can really compete. I mean, with in Cambodia and Bangladesh and
possibly top it up. Sorry. Hello. I mean, I'm just topping up on what he said. Basically, the competitive edge of Jordan is not lost at all, even at 20%, for a reason. I mean, reciprocal tariff is what we are talking about it, but there is a factor called import duty. Import duty even today for Jordan is 0 because of the free trade agreement we do have. So our total cost of importing goods in the US today, if you talk about it, it is 0 duty plus reciprocal tariff of 20%, and a 90 days cooling period is given at 10%. And we are hoping that that 10% will continue. As you said, it's confidential, it will be coming out, and possibly even the 10% will become 0, means 0 duty, 0 reciprocal tariff. That is what we are aiming for. Even if at 20%, since the duty is 0, we definitely do have the edge to compete with the world. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
We're either boring or we answered so many questions. مستنيتك تحكي عشان ترجع تسألك سؤال. So maybe you're the closing, but you can speak earlier. Yeah, she's the closing.
May I continue my question because
Gretchen is the boss.
my boss.
Sure.
My question.
Sure.
Thank you. My question was, not transfer any of my employee or my capital or my assets from here. I'm just transferring my knowledge to the locum and that city. My question was, the investment I am putting, I am opening the labs, the infrastructure of that center in these areas. For example, I am going to invest in Nigeria, in Tajikistan, in Azerbaijan. They are in need of these high standard of quality of lab testing or healthcare. So that was my question. How this session will help the Jordanian company to go there to invest.
Yeah, well, this session is about getting investment to Jordan, not to send it outside. But as I said, if you allow me just to answer, no, it's not both way. My job is to get you guys to invest in Jordan. There is a different minister who's responsible to help. But nevertheless, as I said, when we're back in Jordan, give me a list of places you want me to help to open up. Kazakhstan is something we can really do, and we can do it quickly. We have an open conversation. Other countries we can explore. Just give us a list and tell us the actions. You know better your business. Just ask me for a very clear action. I'll make sure I'll do it. I'm at your service.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Alex Owen Hunt from FDI Intelligence. This is probably best posed to Ayad, but also to the wider panel of the minister and other representatives from businesses. There's obviously a big push in the region towards AI infrastructure. We have Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia right now talking about potential partnerships there in developing AI infrastructure. Obviously, Jordan is a critical location in terms of connectivity. Talk to me a bit about the opportunity of AI digital infrastructure and what that means for what you're doing in Aqaba, but also in infrastructure, the energy sector. And Minister, is this a key area of focus for you?
May I just answer and give it to you after? They just announced the Humane, the AI company in Saudi. You know who's the CEO? Tariq Amin, he's a Jordanian. That's it. Tariq Amin is the CEO of Humane, the biggest Saudi AI company, and he's a Jordanian. And it's a huge focus for us. His Majesty has given orders for us to form the National Future Technology Council, led by the Prime Minister, overseen by the Crown Prince, His Royal Highness. And our mandate is to make sure that we adopt technologies we don't understand yet. So we need to be forward-looking, and we need to be fast. Since that happened, we got our crypto, and not crypto, our digital assets law passed through in 40, 50 days. We've got the drone regulations done in 50 days. We are very much focused on adopting a future-looking strategy when it comes to technology, including AI. Definitely what Saudi has is different from what we have. We have more talent-driven people. They have more cash investment. So we could complement what they're doing, and we could integrate. And him being on the borders with Saudi, he can continue the answer.
Well, Your Excellency, thank you. Alex, you've asked and you answer your question. we have a combination for the AI. It starts with the chipsets design, manufacturing, then it goes all the way for the data centers or the AI farms, then you need the connectivity, the cooling, and it's an ecosystem. You need to build it. What we have in Jordan, we have most of the requirements needed for the AI. Today, the chipset itself, to be deployed in this country or in that country, it's a political decision. It has nothing to do. But what can I assure you is that in Jordan, we have the most advanced digital infrastructure when it comes to connectivity and access, because one of the big things then the Jordanian, even beside the private sector, the Jordanian government has invested in a national broadband network that provides a the dark fiber network connecting all the neighboring countries with Jordan, beside the private sector network. So for the AI, we are ready for the AI with the scale we built in Aqaba. Today, we need more investments in the data center business, and the environment, the business environment in Jordan is welcoming a new investments in the data center. But again, as I said, you know, it's a political decision where to deploy the AI, because all the big announcement that we are hearing about, still there is no export license for those countries in order to deploy the AI. So let's differentiate between two things. The first one is the availability of the infrastructure, the data center, and I'm sure in Jordan we have one of the best. But when it comes to the political, we have two ministers here. I think they can answer this part. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll say one thing about, because you mentioned data center. You know that NASA, Meta, NVIDIA, and many of the global data centers are cooled by Jordanian HVAC, that Jordanian design, Jordanian manufactured cooling systems. Immersive cooling, whatever you imagine, and when it comes to cooling, it's made in Jordan and designed in Jordan by Jordanian engineers. NASA, I mean, the airports in the US, NVIDIA's data centers. And this is a Jordanian company, Petra Engineering, and has been for years supplying the US data centers with cooling solutions. I'll stop here because time is there for my dear friend.
Thank you very much. I think we will turn it over to Her Excellency Minister Toukan to give some closing remarks.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. We're really happy that you're with us here today, and thank you for the Jordanian private sector being with us, but also some potential new investors and some key partners that are also with us in this room. I think I cannot but also acknowledge the distinguished speakers shedding the light on their experiences in Jordan and what we've been basically doing together to help them also grow. And His Excellency Muthanna has touched upon a lot that has been happening in terms of the ecosystem, the legal framework, unplugging bureaucracy, the future pipeline. From my end, just one important note is the partnership that we've created with EBRD over the years. This is the 5th investment outlook session. We started in Tbilisi, going to Nicosia, Dead Sea, Jordan, by hosting the EBRD annual meeting and the business forum, Samarkand 2 years ago, and now in London. And it's a different story every time. It has always been an enriching discussion, but a journey that we took together, and very much proud to see also the client base of EBRD expanding over the years. And it shows from the distinguished speakers, but also some of those that are with us in the audience. On your question, I will take that. Yes, our job is to get investors into Jordan, but some of the partnerships that we've created and the clients that we've created, that EBRD has invested and supported, they help them grow into other countries of operations. I'm going to name like Hikma, I think exploring markets in Central Asia. But I think having this discussion while you're expanding in Jordan, maybe at the end it's a Jordanian brand that we're also proud of to be exported outside the borders of Jordan. Gretchen, thank you for putting this together. As His Excellency Muthanna, your dedication, the passion, and the effort that you have put through this and bringing the speakers together, we truly appreciate that. We've been, as a government, nudging the EBRD to do more and expand their client base in Jordan. So I have to also acknowledge what the government has been doing over the past years. When we took the decision back in 2011 to accede and become a member of the EBRD, it was at the time the private sector in mind, and expanding opportunities for our private sector. And we've been working tirelessly to mobilize development financing for private sector purposes, policies, advisory services. We have exciting projects that are coming up, the desalination projects, the green hydrogen that we've been working with EBRD on. Also, I have to acknowledge the effort that you've been doing at putting in the green hydrogen. I remember the conversation that I had with Heike in Samarkand and what we can do together, helping us on putting the ecosystem in place and the legal framework, but also helping us to reach out to potential investors on that front. We have a very promising agenda with EBRD. I was just discussing with the President earlier today some of the projects that His Excellency has touched upon, from going from green energy to social infrastructure, financial services. I think we're celebrating another agreement later on this week. But it's our job as a government of Jordan to make sure that we mobilize the tools that would help you make these projects happen. More and more development financing backed up by guarantees, blended financing to help also lower costs, risk factors. And this is the successes that we have been basically celebrating over the years. Thank you.
So much, Your Excellency. Thank you, everyone. This was really a wonderful event, and I feel truly grateful to be in Jordan and to be able to work with all of you. So just thank you very, very much for coming today. Thank you.